Then I go to Professor Arnold Thomas from St. Vincent. Is Arnold around? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, hello. Great, great to see you, man.
Great to see you again.
Great.
I've been having a bit of a technical problem hooking on. I don't know can you see me by video?
Yeah, I can see your photo. Yes, not in action, but I can see your photo.
Okay, because I mean,
you can go on talking. Yeah, you can make your presentation. It's wonderful, Arnold, having you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, well, first of all, greetings from St. Vincent, the lovely paradise island in the Caribbean. And I want to commend the organizers for putting on this event. I think it's very appropriate, it's very timely. Yeah. Just to give a little bit of background to my little island and the Indian diaspora over here. For those of you who have heard this before, I crave your indulgence. Well, let me just very briefly say, there were 8 ships that brought some 2,475, I think, Indians to St. Vincent between the years 1861 to 1880. They enjoyed working in St. Vincent, and many of them had intended not to go back to India, or at least to, if they went back to India, to come back to St. Vincent. However, conditions changed and changed drastically internally, and one of the reasons was the loss of the let me move this off the screen. Was the loss of the sugar industry. So when things went very bad, the conditions under which the Indians lived and worked over here also deteriorated, and things went so bad in 1882 that some 50 Indians from one of the estates marched barefooted from that estate to Kingstown, some 10 miles away, to protest their conditions. However, as a result of that march, things did not get better. And let me just shorten this by saying that as a result of that march in 1882, it was the end of, it triggered the end of the indentureship system in St. Vincent. And for those of you who may not be familiar, there is a chapter that was put out by the University of London School of Advanced Studies. They did their memorial publication a year or 2 ago, I think. And I have a chapter in that book on the protest march that led to the end of indenture. So I would recommend that if you haven't read it, this is my what you call it. Okay, now the Indians, things about more than half of the Indians who came to St. Vincent went back between the years 1882, 1885, which meant that the population went down a lot. And there were 2 other events that also depleted the Indian population in St. Vincent. One was a volcanic eruption first a hurricane of 1898 and a volcanic eruption in 1902. And it so happens that a lot of the Indians were living in estates very close to that volcano. And when it erupted, I think quite a few died. So that again depleted the Indian population. As I said, the sugar industry had declined, and so much so that the largest estate was being sold off in London, and the owners told the Indians living there they better get their own place. So they left Argyle Estate, as it was called, and they all went to several places and formed at least 6 villages, which became prominent Indian villages in St. Vincent. At one time, where I'm from, a place we call Calder, and there were just about 5 non-Indian families living among us. So we had over 600 people there. So we had very distinct Indian communities. Again, things happened. Right up to after the Second World War, a lot of the Indians joined Windrush, and you're familiar with Windrush. And I have to tell you that most of the Indian villages became depopulated. So that was another blow to the Indian population in St. Vincent. So what we are left with today is um, a very small, just less than 10% of the total population of 110,000 Indians in St. Vincent. However, I must say that the numbers are about 7,000 Indians out of a population of 110,000. We are totally integrated, and it's so much so that most of the Indians, if not all, have forgotten everything about Hinduism and Islam and have adopted Christianity. And it was done, as the experts will tell you, mainly for survival, not because they disliked Hinduism or they loved Christianity, but it was done as a means of survival. So here we are today. Um, we are living as one people, and very distinct. There are very distinct Indians all over the place. But if you want to know what happened to the Indian diaspora in St. Vincent, and you go to England, there's a town over there called High Wycombe in the UK, and you would find a lot of Indians over there. Some people might think when they look at them, they're from Pakistan or India, but they're actually from there's Vincentian Indians. Okay, now fast forward. Let me fast forward a bit to
Let's
tell you
close it.
what's been happening in
Yeah.
recent times.
Yeah.
Since 2006, we have formed the St. Vincent Indian Heritage Foundation, and as a result, we have managed to regain a lot of our culture, if you like. We are linked up very closely with the government of India, and also with other Indian diasporas throughout the world. Um, and I am going to be brief and tell you that we, like all other Vincentians, we meaning the people of Indian descent, have been affected by the COVID-19. Um, so much so. I'll just tell you this: that a lot of our people are working as seafarers on ships, on cruise ships, all over the place. And as a result of COVID-19, they are stuck. And we have all kinds of problems bringing them back into St. Vincent. Um, as a matter of fact, only in the last few days, one of the cruise ships actually brought back over 100 Vincentians, among whom are a number of Indians. But let me just briefly tell you some of the steps that our government has taken in order to deal with this problem. First of all, there have been, since about the 23rd of March, there have been rigid regulations in place. And we have closed all our airports and seaports, which means that people cannot come and go. Unfortunately, someone came in on one of those flights just before it was banned and started spreading it. And we had up to 17 cases of persons who are infected. Fortunately, more than half of these have now been cured. And thank goodness we have not had any any deaths among our population. And just to briefly tell you, in keeping with other countries, we have rigid regulations in place, like you have to wear masks, you have to practice social distancing, and you have you have social distances and all those things which protect the population. In addition, the country has recently received some grants from organizations like the World Bank, and these are to make sure that the measures are in place to preserve and protect our people in this lovely island of St. Vincent. So far, so good. I have to say, we are not doing too badly compared with other countries. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Arnold. You have been so vibrant as always, and during the course of time, you told us how the Indians immigrated to Saint Vincent and the various trials and tribulations they have gone through. I recall a quotation which uh, L.M. Singhvi quoted from a Mauritius poet, Vishwamitra Ganga Asutosh, wherein he said, Indians went in search of gold, but then no gold they find underneath any stone they touched and turned, yet every stone they touched into gold, solid gold, they turned. So these are the kind of challenges that Indians have taken, and they have been very successful in that. So thank you very much. And